Gary, you've got a ton going on. I'm going to hit you with one other question because obviously this is on the minds of everybody, not just that loves Alabama football, but follows college football. It's Tua, it's Jalen Hurts. You just alluded to it. So it seems to be a foregone conclusion when somebody steps on the national stage, as Tua Tangavailoa did against Georgia, even though the sample size is small, to perform under that kind of pressure and pull out a game down by 13 points, he would have to be the starter. Or is it not so cut and dry?
It's not so cut and dry. I think that Nick Saban has a lot of respect for Jalen Hurts, has a very good relationship with him. And Jalen Hurts did win a lot of football games, did take Alabama to 2 national championship games, is a guy that carried out the game plan that Nick Saban wanted carried out every week. I think what will happen, Mark, is that they will go into spring competing for the job. My experience covering Nick Saban is that no starter will be named coming out of spring. I think they'll go into fall practice, and the job will still be open. My guess is, that Tua Tangavailoa, based on what we've seen, will win the starting quarterback job, but I wouldn't bet my life on it. No way. Because I still think that Jalen Hurts is a good football player, depending on what they want to do offensively. Maybe they'll play both guys, but it's not just cut and dry, in my opinion, that Tua Tangavailoa is going to be the starter. But at the same time, I think they want to throw the football more. I think they want to throw it more effectively, and clearly he has special arm talent. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But Jalen Hurts has been a really good player here, and I don't think Nick Saban is going to go up to him and say, you're not in the chase for the starting job. I just don't think he'll do that. I think the competition will be open, and it might be open all the way up until the season opener against Louisville down in Orlando.
Because as you well know, Gary, when you get in that situation as Tua did after the sack that throws him back to like 2nd and 18, of course you're thinking, okay, we're down a field goal. The smart football fan, of course, we got to dink and dunk and just get ourselves back in field goal range and try to get to another overtime. But man, that kid, ice water in his veins, bam, touchdown. Crazy.
Just an incredible play. And I think, too, the fact that Papanastos had missed the short field goal from the middle of the field in regulation might have played into not only Tua's thinking, but maybe into Brian Dable's thinking. They might have said, heck, man, we can't nickel and dime because we don't want to try a field goal. We got to go for this thing. And, I still say in cover 2, the safety, regardless of the job that Tua did looking off, he should have still got off the hash and got over to the sideline. But he didn't. It was a pinpoint throw. And one of the great plays in Alabama football history. And it's going to be fun watching both these guys. I just never want to sell Jalen Hurts short, Mark, because I've watched him for 2 years. I know what kind of competitor he is. I know what kind of football player he is. So while a lot of people try to make it, a negative to have Jalen having been a 2-year starter and feeling like Tua is going to replace him, I don't see it that way. I think it's Alabama's fortunate to have 2 great quarterbacks. And within the team, the dynamic between those two, there's no issue. You saw Tua support Jalen all year, and then Jalen, in the biggest game of his career, gets benched for the second half, and instead of sitting over there and sulking, he's the biggest cheerleader Tua had. That's the way they approach it, and I think that's the way they'll approach it throughout this competition. And I'll just sit back and let it play out and see what happens.
And unfortunately, we tie the wins and therefore the championships to the quarterback so much, we forget. Jalen Hurts walked off the field against Clemson the previous year with a lead. He couldn't do anything else. He led what could have been a game-winning drive against Clemson and didn't get back on the field.
Yeah, he did everything he could. I mean, 2 minutes to go, he takes some. Remember that, I guess it was a 3rd or 4th and down play where he threw it back across the field to Ardarius Stewart. I think it was 3rd and 18, and they got 17, and then they converted the 4th down. And then, of course, he busted the run. You're right. He walks off the field. You think you got a very good chance to win the game, and give Deshaun Watson and those guys credit. They made a lot of plays to get down there and win the football game. But Jalen Hurts is a winner, and Tua Tagovailoa is a special talent. So I think Alabama's in good situation at quarterback, Mark.
All right. He is Gary Harris, WVUA sports director, longtime sports director, and much respected, talking Alabama football. Gary, this helps us out tremendously, so thanks for taking the time. I know you've got a ton going on.
Well, it's my pleasure, Mark. Good to visit with you.